أنت ما اهتدينا ولا تصدقنا ولا صلينا اللهم لولا أنت ما اهتدينا.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. How is everyone doing? What's happening so far? Sorry, it's been a while. I was just busy with day-to-day life and traveling and such, so couldn't come up and do the thing which I like to do the most, which is having a fruitful discussion about theology, about someone's beliefs and stuff. So yeah, we're back at it. We're gonna be having a few of the videos to react to. It's been eventful 5-10 days on the internet world. Probably gonna be discussing Paul today and some scholarship. I want to discuss about the Jesus Dynasty by Dr. James D. Tabor, and also the Brother of Jesus and the Lost Teaching of Christianity by Boots. It's a scholar. He has written quite a few books. So we're gonna do that, and I'm gonna put up an invite link for someone to come up and defend Nicene Creed from the Bible, and we'll go from there, inshallah. And just give me a second before I sort things out. Let's start with ideally YouTube and see where things take us, inshallah. Yes, also wanted to discuss with you guys, all the time Christians are making a big fuss, especially some television presenters on different late night shows and stuff, especially Bill Maher and people like that, Christians are not allowed to propagate and do their work of spreading Christianity in Muslim countries. But whenever a Muslim walks up to them in the first world country where they have no restriction, is considered quote unquote a Christian country, albeit being a secular country, they always run away. They're never answering. And there are few of these things which happened with Brother Orthodox Muslim. A couple happened in England and stuff. So I don't know what's the big deal about making a big fuss about things which don't make any sense. Like, for instance, like if I'm gonna, I just watched this video. It just got uploaded, and I was surprised to see how Christians and other groups were acting. Just give me a second. So if you see this video, it's clear that they don't want to talk, they don't want to engage, they don't want to do anything.
It's not informed. No, I'm here, brother. No, you guys have the truth, right? No, you don't have the truth. Leave us alone. You have the truth or not? The Hebrew Israelites are here. They're preaching, but they don't want to answer any questions. I have a question. Can you answer it? No, I haven't asked the question yet. Did Jesus say go into all nations? Did he say go into all nations or not? Yeah. Get him another job, man. Get him another job. Switch. Hey, you need to switch. You're getting tired, man.
Ask them about Aisha.
Can you go to Numbers 31? Hey, that guy's supposed to be God, man. Tell me, he's got a man?
Obviously, I don't believe he's a man.
All right, that's a man, though.
How is he a man? That's a freaking artwork.
That's not a man?
Look, take that shit off my
Don't touch my camera. Don't touch my camera.
So you see, it's one of many examples where they really don't want to talk, and when you come up to them, they just start packing their stuff and leave, and then they make a big fuss about people are not allowed into Christian countries, I mean Muslim countries, and spread Christianity. Even this one he posted. Just a second. Have a look at this one. It's and this is Toronto. This is one of the most liberal cities in the world. It's downtown Yonge and Dundas Square, or you can call it Sankofa Square. This is what's been happening there. So I don't know.
Your God is right.
Your God is a curse.
No.
He says,
see,
the what?
our God is love.
Jesus took the curse of the cross, right? He became a curse.
For you.
He became a curse.
For you.
Did he become a curse?
He took the curse
Okay.
for
Did he
you.
Did he become one?
He,
Did
just
he become a curse? What's
you
wrong with
accept what Jesus has done.
What's your name?
My name Jay.
Jay doesn't believe in the Bible.
You believe. You
He
don't
rejects the Bible. He rejects
Jesus
the Bible
has-
because the Bible
So,
says
see,
God became a curse.
you are reading.
Let's read it.
2 Corinthians chapter 5 verse
Not
20.
Second Corinthians.
That's okay.
That's the wrong
I
one.
know that.
You see, you don't know your Bible.
Yeah, I know.
That's he became a sin. In Galatians, he became a curse.
No.
That's the wrong
Galatians
verse.
3 verse 13 you are saying.
Yes, sir. There you go.
He took the curse
By
for you.
finish the verse.
See.
So that's what it is, guys. That's what's up. And this has been the case with Christians all the time. All the time. They just don't want to admit of things which are plain and simple. And they want to make other people look bad as if, So we're going to do some scholarship today, inshallah. But before that, let's have some more fun on Instagram and stuff and see what's been circulating around and so on and so forth. Okay. So this is another classical video of Mr. Cliff tweaking when being confronted and asked a question, and this is how they respond. In a Christian so-called country, America, in his own setup where he was doing something, and this is how he was responding to it. Okay.
So
Tell
for
us what the real Bible is.
so
Tell us.
I would say that the Bible,
Yeah.
which is the Septuagint, the one that the apostles held to, is the one that is the
That's
true
the
Bible
Old
that you need.
Testament.
Right. But the apostles, when they were spreading the gospel,
Yes.
which is, by the way, the oral gospel for us written way
Come on,
later.
stick your point.
Okay, the Septuagint is the Bible that the church held to,
No, it's the
which
Old Testament.
promised.
The Septuagint.
Yeah, the Septuagint is the
Not the New
New
Testament.
Testament. I'm not talking about the New Testament. That's a strong
Well,
one.
where do you find out about Jesus?
Where's
You
your
don't find out
You
about
find
Jesus
out about
in the Old
Jesus
Testament.
in the Old Testament,
No, you
actually.
don't. You find
Yes,
about
you do.
Jesus in the New Testament. The gospel.
Jesus was prophesied in the Old Testament, just like
Okay,
the book of
prophesied. Pretty hard,
Isaiah 53, Psalm
So if you
21.
don't answer my question, you're gonna have to get on to the next. I'm gonna have to get on to the next.
I'm answering your question.
No, you're not.
You're
Get
asking
to the point.
the Old
You have an
Testament.
agenda. Fine. Tell me what.
See? So here he basically went back on his word and he said, actually, Jesus, we find out about Jesus in the New Testament, not in the Old Testament. And he's saying, well, you've been saying about Psalm and Isaiah and Zechariah and this and that. What's happening there? What happened to that? And he's like, he just gave up on Jesus in the Old Testament. So this is the state of Christianity, and even if you don't believe it's a correct religion and you're doing it for clout or whatever it is, right? At least be, civil about it. Well, I guess not, and that's how things stand. This is another shining example of how Christian brain, Christian mind works, and how much respect they have for other gods, other people's gods, so to speak. Okay, here we go.
Jesus Christ is God, and there is no other God. He is part of the Holy Trinity, and any other God is a demon, and it's false. How can you represent the constituents of Ohio who are 64% Christian if you are not a part of that faith? If you are an Indian, a Hindu, coming from a different culture, different religion than those who founded this country, those who grew this country, built this country, made this country the beautiful thing that it is today, what are you conserving? You are bringing change. I'll be 100% honest with you. Christianity is the one truth.
Christian voices should be the main voice of America, and I want to know basically why you seem to be, and I don't mean to be horribly offensive, but why you seem to be masquerading as a Christian.
You familiar with the Ten Commandments? You call yourself a Hindu, but you also call yourself Christian. I don't call myself Christian. I call myself a Hindu. I'm not running to be pastor of Ohio. I'm running to be governor of Ohio, and I didn't run to be pastor of America. I ran to be president of the United States.
So that's where, when you come across the truth of the reality, when you try to, assimilate in the so-called culture, and it's basically a disguise. Under that is basically what they label Islamic countries to be, don't do this, and, basically turn into a Christian and turn into change all your values into Christian values, even though they're not holding on to Christian values themselves. And then they come up and say, oh, Muslim countries, they force you to wear this, they force you, even though there's nothing forceful about women's attire for the most part of the Muslim countries. But this is like Ohio. This is like, a few hundred miles away from, especially Toledo, Ohio, is a few hundred miles away from Toronto, even if you go straight up north to Canada. And it's very as liberal as it gets. Not liberal in that sense, but liberal compared to the rest of the world, where hardcore religious practices are done, be it Islamic Muslim nations or Christian nations or Hindu nation, whatever it is, right? That this is their expectation from people, and this is when you realize that you came from India, or your parents came from India, or your grandparents came from India, and you try to change yourself, become as white as possible. Start liking football, start liking hockey, go into concerts, drink different brands of alcohol, and talk about cars and girls, and interest, usury, stocks, this and that, whatever it is, right? And then this is what they actually think about you because of your skin color and your past, or even your religion. Imagine Christians not accepting a Hindu, a polytheist not accepting a polytheist to govern them with whatever Christian values they're implying that there are. So yeah, unfortunate, but that's how things are. Okay, now moving on to some of the main stuff that matters about Paul, is what I'm interested in. Okay. Just a second. Just click my printer by mistake. Sorry. Okay. We're good to go. Let's do this one first. Here we go. So this one, as you can see, is talking about a weak Christ from Paul. And he says that, this is one of the key criticisms of his message. The idea of suffering crucified Christ seems weak and unconvincing. To me, I think Paul concedes that Christ appeared weak in his death, but insists that Jesus will return in power and judgment, so to speak, where he's like, in other translation, it reads when he says that, don't be fooled, this weakness is part of the plan, so to speak. He's reshaping that narrative that, the weakness of the cross is a paradoxical strength of some sort. Now, again, this is, I feel, a theological spin, not necessarily an eyewitness truth. And the verse for you, everyone's to see. I'm just going to zoom it a little bit so everyone can see what it reads. Okay. Going to let's do Philippians. Here it is. So this one would actually, one of the things which I struggle with, even from an outsider or an insider, because I've seen Christians struggle with this, because we have no idea what Paul is warning when he says, many live as enemies of the cross. He accuses them of being too focused on worldly things and not a spiritual truth. But who are these enemies? Are they non-believers? Are they believers? Are they someone who don't agree with Paul's interpretation of Jesus's death? Who are they? So this is not just controversial outside of Christianity. It was being contested within the early moments of Christianity, the other communities, so to speak. Going to let's go to Galatians 1:15. Here there is a claim from Paul, and I don't know who he considers God, so to speak, because he was a Pharisee of sort. He's saying that, he was always set and predestined to do this. And he did it through his grace, and he was pleased. and you can see he was being arrogant in 2 Corinthians 5:16. Where he says that, from now on, therefore, we regard no one from a human point of view. Even though we once knew Christ from a human point of view, we know him no longer in that way. So basically, he's saying that he doesn't need, in the context, any earthly approval or authorization to spread his gospel, which apparently Christ gave to him. And he goes against Christ in Galatians 5:4, I think, where he says that you who want to be justified by the law have cut yourselves off from Christ. You have fallen away from grace. And this directly means that he thinks that whoever follows the law, Christ has nothing to do with them. And it goes on to curse the people who circumcise in verse 12. Where he says, I wish those who unsettle you would castrate themselves. Very strong language, very strong implications of his words, which are still witness. And, obviously the covenant was for everyone who was circumcised in the flesh, and whoever was not circumcised in the flesh, the covenant was not for them. And he obviously compares himself to Christ in Philippians 2, verse 16 or 17, I think. Where he says that, but even if I am being poured out as libation over the sacrifice and the offering of your faith, I am glad and rejoice with all of you. And gonna be 1 Corinthians 15:10. Is where he says and claims to be better than any other disciple, where he says that, but by the grace of God, I am what I am, and his grace towards me has not been in vain. On the contrary, I worked harder than any of them, though it was not I, but the grace of God that is within me. So grace of God was within him, but not in other disciples, and that motivated and forced him to do things greater than any other disciple. And we can go to Colossians 1:24. And he is again saying that his suffering is greater than that of Christ. And it reads, I am now rejoicing in my sufferings for your sake, and in my flesh I am completing what is lacking in Christ's afflictions for the sake of his body, that is the church. So, time and time again, Paul is basically saying that something greater is achieved through him, but not through Christ or his disciples. You can see that he said that sin entered the world in Romans 5, Galatians 5, he says the law is abolished, Ephesians, law is abolished, a lot of these things. And one just, wonder, like what's going on with Paul, right? So, and if you see scholarship agrees with the message of what Paul was trying to do You can go to multiple sources. Just a second, I'm gonna. Okay, let's read some scholarship on Paul and how come on. No, not there. I'm just trying to figure out how we can use this. So I'm gonna download all the things before we can share them on screen. Sorry. Yeah, I know that. Are these the downloads? So this is from the book, The Jesus Dynasty. And in this one, you can see there's a reference made by Dr. James D. Tabor in count number 16, where he says that Paul, he refers to the sayings of Jesus only twice in all his letters. And he quotes where those things are being said. So that's the first. Let me move on to oh yeah, there. Sorry about that. Okay. Second. So, okay, back in business. So I'm gonna remove this one and I put up another one. So we saw that one. This is another one. And this one reads that Jesus and the other two victims were put on their crosses by night Thursday. Whether Jesus expected God would rescue him before things went that far is impossible to say. So this implies that this was not God's plan, and this is not what a Muslim person is saying. This is what Christian liberal scholarship is saying. And he reads that if he had identified himself with the Davidic figure who was to be pierced in Zechariah 12, it is entirely possible that he thought he was destined to be nailed to the cross, but then saved from death itself before it was too late, which is exactly how, which is exactly how Quran portrays Jesus, that he was saved from the cross supernaturally. Okay. Moving to the next one. And this one is for the sightings of Jesus. And it reads that, as shocking as it may sound, the original manuscripts of the Gospel of Mark report no appearances of the resurrected Jesus at all. And they, the two Marys and Salome, went out and find from the tomb, for trembling and astonishment had come upon them, and they said nothing to anyone, for they were afraid. Mark 16:8. What happened was that pious scribes who copied Mark make up an ending for him and edit it to his texts. And this is a reality of gospel scholarship. I'm just skipping over them fast because I have a lot of things to share, but we can definitely look into it deeper if need be. And this is sort of an implication of a proto-Islamic society, which was in the early stages of Christianity, before Luke and Acts mention Christians as a word. Okay, so this one's again from the Jesus Dynasty, page 255. And it reads that it provides us a rare glimpse into what scholars have called Jewish Christianity, that is, the earliest followers of Jesus led by James. Gospel of Thomas is not a narrative of the life of Jesus, but rather a listing of 114 of his saying. We know that it's a logia. And the disciples said to Jesus, "We know you will leave us. Who is going to be our leader then?" And Jesus said to them, "No matter where you go, you are to go to James the just, for whose sake heaven and earth came into being." Okay. And this is another representation of the same thing. I'm gonna make it like this. Let's edit it a little bit. Use this to that. Okay, so this one reads, according to the dominant paradigm of scholarship, in the period before 150, the fourth gospel was predominantly known and used by Gnostic or heterodox groups. Okay, so there's obviously a difference between orthodoxy and heterodoxy. And gospel took a long time to be accepted, although it was being written and read around 1995, 100, 110, depends on whatever position you take. But this is what it is. Okay. Moving on. I have to zoom into these images. And this is another one where it says that, of the four gospels, John's took a longer to win universal acceptance and the position that it was in before it was accepted as canon. And you can find that in this book, The Canon of Scripture, and you can read it. There's another one, I think I might be able to find it. It's about the Johannine corpus. Let me see if it's in my books. So this one by Charles Hill. This is also a good book. It's good to read this. Actually, I have something from this book which you guys can benefit from. I can't find it right now. So this one's relating to what I was saying at the start of the stream in Jesus Dynasty. It says that no one even remotely imagined that John the Baptizer and Jesus had annulled God's covenant with the people of Israel and Torah upon which it was based. So, Paul, naughty Paul. And this is another book. This is out and out Torah and Torah Christian book by Bruce Shelley. And this is about church history in plain language, 5th edition. You can read it. One of the most fascinating pages of that would be this one, where the author mentions the first community. And, again, similar wordings where it says, no one doubted that the first company of believers was Jewish. So if believers were Jewish and Jesus said abolish the law, how could have he been able to propagate so immensely amongst and especially for people who are kind of, as a Christian scholarship mentions, drags of society. They are very, because they don't have anything else other than their faith. So they try to be as faithful as they can. Okay. Have we done all of this? Yeah, pretty much. I have a very limited time, but I'm just gonna welcome a guest for 5 minutes and see what's up. Hello.
Hey man, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
All right. It's good.
What's up?
Nothing much. I just I saw you online. It's been a while, so I came in to say hello. But seems
Yeah.
like you're about to leave. So.
Yeah, I was just traveling and still jet lagged and stuff.
Yeah.
So
You back in Canada?
I'm back in Canada now. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, welcome back. I hope you had a wonderful trip.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that day I think we did it on Sunday evening. That day, the 4 hours one, where I get to eat a lot and you guys were talking and stuff.
Oh yeah, the coffee thing. Yeah, it's been a while because I don't remember. It's
It
been a
was like
while.
10,
A
10,
couple of
11 days
weeks. I had
ago.
like tests.
Almost 20 days
Yeah,
ago. It
because
was on September 28th.
yeah, I know it's been a couple of weeks because I had like tests in the middle there. A couple of them. It's been like 3 or 2 weeks, I think. Yeah.
So
It's
you
been
were
good. It's
staying
been
up
good.
nights studying and stuff for your exams and stuff?
Not really. They're just like tests. So yeah, I just really have to prepare. It wasn't that bad. It was all right. Yeah. I didn't have to sleep very late, at least. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, man,
Yeah.
we are
Also,
gonna
it's
catch
pretty
up this.
rough though.
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna catch up this week. Hopefully, I'm gonna do 3-4 streams. Just
Oh,
trying
for
to
sure.
unpack stuff and fill up my fridge with groceries and sorts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
we'll
hear you.
talk. I did join a couple of TikTok live as on my different profile.
All right. That sounds
Sometimes,
fun.
yeah. Sometimes it's nice to have a different perspective because I always like people who are like calm and listening, or at least they have some foundation of because I'm not what do you call it being saying something bad about someone, but a lot of times people at night on TikTok, they're drunk or they had one too many. So
That's yeah. I hear where you're coming from for sure. Yeah. People don't always sound pretty sober.
because after you tell them a couple of things, they're like, oh no, you never said that, you were a liar or you did this. I'm like, that's how we reached here, because I said those things 2 sentences before.
Yeah, that's true, man. It's people can be hard for sure.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna go, man, and hopefully we'll talk lots this week and following.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
for sure. Looking forward to it. I hope that I'll
yeah.
be, online or something. Hope to catch it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. All right, man. Take
All right,
care. Have a
man.
good night.
Have a
It was
good
nice
night to
talking
you
to
too,
you.
man. Nice talking to you as well.
Take care. So that was Josh. I think we had like a long stream on September 28th. It was Sunday from, I think, Canadian Mountain Time, 4 to 8 p.m. And yeah, just gonna head out. And I was talking, I was basically on a TikTok panel. I'm not on a TikTok panel. Those people, they didn't know me, but I just joined to answer a few questions. One was one atheist person. I asked him about space and stuff. And then, so this person, I was mentioning to him, I'm just going to quickly say, maybe you'll find it intriguing or not, but that person had drinks, way too many drinks. And we were talking about the ecumenical councils and how they are, first of all, what does ecumenical mean? What does that include? And why other councils are not considered ecumenical, and why some councils have labeled one or two of the ecumenical councils to not have the representation that was required. And I was talking about, Nicaea 1, Constantinople, Ephesus, and Chalcedon, and the second and third Constantinople, and Nicaea 2. So when I said Nicaea 1, he was like, why are you saying Nicaea 1? It's just Council of Nicaea. So I was like, there's a different council. Council of Nicaea was the first one, and they were talking. Athanasius was talking with Arius about the heresy which was rejected is called Arianism. And then the last one was about iconoclasm, where the Empress Irene had her son unalived and his eyes gouged out and stuff, just to keep herself in political power, and reject the Council of Hieria before that as not being ecumenical council because of representation. But then Nicaea 2 didn't have that representation, and it still counts as the ecumenical council. And he was like, what are you talking about? You never said this, and you never said that. What are you saying? I'm saying that you said Nicaea 1. What is Nicaea 1? What is Nicaea? I'm like, brother, you're way too drunk to be talking about that. And I said, just look up Nicaea 2, 787, and you'll find what I'm talking about, and Nicaea 1. So I was going to discuss with him if he was sober about, Arianism or Macedonianism or Nestorianism, stuff like that. Nestorianism reapplied, but there's no point when someone's drunk and talking about consubstantiality or hypostatic union in Chalcedon, stuff like that, right? Two natures in one person, or whatever it is, right? It becomes very exhausting, and I'm not here to discuss these things with them. I just read these things, or Muslims read these things, so they can discuss what it is to be a Christian and how things have formed up in someone's mind, so to speak. But a lot of time, I have to be honest, Christians don't know about this letter. And even with the Bible, I know a lot of Muslims, and I'm not saying this in any rude or judgmental way. Allah guides and wills, and people do their deeds on whatever time. But there are a lot of Christians who have not read the Bible, and you ask them about sins in Bible, you go to Exodus 32, where Moses is talking about, great sins, or First Samuel 7:5, where, all the Israel is assembled, and Prophet Nathan is talking in 2 Samuel 12:13. Isaiah is talking in Isaiah 6, verses 6-7. Daniel 9:4-19 is talking about it. Zechariah 3, verse 4 is talking about it. People don't know about it. They're like, they're so into, like, a person cannot have fulfilled the law ever. So, but anyways, it's getting long. Inshallah, we'll get back together, and we're going to talk about recognitions, the Clementine homilies and recognitions. I want to discuss a few passages from it. Recognitions 1, I want to discuss 27-28, about Peter warning about the false apostles distorting the true teaching. I want to talk about recognitions 1:54-60, with a debate over vision and authority, and Jesus's living instructions. Recognitions 1:65-71, about polemic works, and Peter insisting truth must come through those taught in the flesh by Christ. All these things, they go against Paul. And then recognitions 2 is there, where Clement is warning about lawless men who reject Mosaic law. In 38, Peter is talking about eyewitnesses, and the epistle of Peter to James, which is the Epistola Petra. we're going to talk about all of those things. And why scholars identify the enemy with Paul when it's talking about the first 3 pages of Peter's letter to James, and why he's saying these things. What is the equation like? I know Paul is never named explicitly, but enemy may be a composite or symbolic figure, right? So we're going to talk about that. The Clementine recognitions and homilies, I'll explain what the difference between them is. Why is one considered recognitions and why one considered homily? What does that mean? And stuff like that. And we're going to talk about Stanley Jones' historic research in 1988 about the pseudo-Clementines. We're going to talk about Richard B. about Jewish world around the New Testament. We can even talk about pseudo-Clementines and the reception of Paul by Lorenzo Bazzana. We will discuss a few scholarship things for a couple of live streams, so they're there for the reference. And obviously, Philip Schaff is there on his beliefs about Apostolic Father. I want to discuss that too in one of my live streams, inshallah. But up until then, take good care of yourself. Inshallah, talk soon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما